All right. We're going to react to Asmongold reacting to the other videos because Asmongold always has some really good things to say, but sometimes I don't agree with him. And sometimes the stuff
The
he
reason retail
says is like people just end up agreeing with him for whatever
PvP.
reason. And I just find it funny because some people will just be like, true, 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 even though he says like something dumb. But Asmongold, for the most part, is like on point. But PvP World of Warcraft is something that I personally take to heart. So,
He is bad. All right, let's look
all
at
right.
this. I haven't looked at any WoW stuff for a while.
Okay. I don't. How do I talk about this? Raikou, if you guys don't know, is one of the most distinguished WoW pros in the AWC.
That's
He's
crazy.
had many tournament wins over many expansions. Highly respected mage player in the community. And Vanaruki, same thing.
Yep.
Let's get into this just a little bit. In general, Dragonflight PvP, and most likely the War Within, just suffers from the same problem. Everything is catered towards Mythic Plus so that everyone has to do insane AoE damage and everything has to AoE. But this is the exact opposite.
Good thing that they gave us our own builds and allowed us to build our own unique talent trees and literally made it so you can cater to whatever area you want to play in. Whether it's AoE or whether it's PvP, it doesn't matter because you can just easily adjust your talents for what you need. And sometimes AoE in Arena is good too, depending on what kind of, depending on what kind of classes you're playing, it might be more beneficial to do tons of AoE and just burst down a bunch of people. It's been a tactic in the past. I'm sure it's a tactic now. I've been away for a long time, so I don't know if jungle cleave is still a thing, you know?
Of what Arena is supposed to be. This is
slow clap.
I think that's probably true. He's probably right.
very well said. This is very well said.
This, by the way, is the reason why PvP in an MMO will always be bad. And you should never try to make PvP balanced in an MMO, because in doing so, like, PvP is always going to be a side game. It's always a side game. The majority of people, unless it's like one of these like niche PvP MMOs, if you have a big game, the majority of people are not going to be doing PvP.
I talk about this.
It's really unfortunate how true that is. Most people do kind of avoid PvP because a lot of people, it's not because it's good or bad or whatever, it's because people don't like losing to other people. They get internally frustrated, internally mad for some reason when they lose against other people. And I don't really know what the solution is to that there, unless you literally start making people fight against AI, which nobody would probably like that other than the PvE farmers. So I do think he's kind of right though. PvP is always going to be kind of a side play, but unfortunately there's not a whole lot you can do about that.
This all the time on my stream. I say this all the time. Raikou said it very well. This is the major issue with retail PvP right here. And the thing is,
I think the major issue, honestly, is the fact that there's too many buttons. There's too many buttons, there's too much going on. It's hard to keep track of what's happening, and it's confusing. Like, that's the reason why I don't play.
Exactly. No, Asmongold hit it on the head. So here recently, as I'm getting back into the expansion, I've noticed that your screen clutter is just freaking crazy. Everybody's like, download this add-on, download this add-on, download this add-on. No, I've been uninstalling add-ons and trying to simplify my screen with as little add-ons as possible so that I can see. All you need to see is when they're bursting, when they're in defensives, and when they have like their trinket and stuff. I mean, I'm not like a super glad or anything, but like I've hit 2200, 2300. You don't need 99% of the information on your screen to be there. So yeah.
Like, for me, I can't tell what's happening in the game in PvP, and I've played it for 15 years. Like, half of the plays that people try to make, I don't really fully understand them.
I don't even blame Blizzard.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Because if 90% of your player base plays Mythic Plus,
exactly.
and
yeah.
10% of your player base plays Arena,
who you're
cater
going
to
to
the
design
90%
for.
makes
Exactly.
sense
Yeah,
to
it's
me.
common sense.
So I don't even blame them. But it's still true. So let's get into this a bit deeper. Raikou also tweets,
this is definitely true. However, one of the reasons is that I think that PvP in games that are MMOs, it's just like an MMO PvP is like, in my opinion, an oxymoron, right? Because MMOs are built off of consistent character progression that you work towards over time, and PvP is built around fighting in an arena and, you know, having a challenge with another player. How can you do that in an uneven battlefield? You can't. It was doomed to begin with. From the
Am I the only one that enjoys and generally enjoys fighting against other classes? There's something about me playing against a mage as a DK that just is so much fun to me. I don't know what it is. And or playing as a mage against I feel so bad for warriors, but playing against warriors as a mage, you know, I feel like there's a lot of fun, and if the classes weren't the way they were, the game would be boring for me. I feel like the reason PvP is so fun is because the classes are so different. If anything, it feels like having the class even stronger. I don't think we should nerf like humans, you know, abilities or anything like that. I feel like we should buff the other characters so that people are more obligated to play the other characters. We're getting kind of three different opinions or perspectives here.
very beginning, it was doomed.
the most noticeable thing about playing Cataclysm compared to retail is that in Cataclysm, my spells, mage, are single target. My Ice Lance, my Orb doesn't go on CC targets. Single target damage is high. Meanwhile, in DF, Sheep is 6 seconds, and I AoE on every button I press. Everyone else AoEs as well. Once again, yes, very well said. If you want PvP to return to this like really high skill expression, AoE spamming should probably not be a part of it. But that ruins Mythic Plus, so it might not be a good idea for Blizzard to do that, but it's still worth...
That's probably true. Like, I'm thinking back, and like every expansion since like Legion, whenever I had the highest rating, our strategy was usually to kill everybody at the same time. Like, yeah, just get them all together and like do Whirlwind, Sweeping Strikes, and Blade Storm, and then they're dead. And if that didn't work, then you're dead. Because they are doing Whirlwind, Sweeping Strikes, and Blade Storm, and they killed you.
See, this is where positioning in Arena or positioning in Battlegrounds, you see someone standing away from the other people, you sheep that target all the way over there, not the ones that you need to throw your AoE into, right? And not only that, but like, you can CC targets and then either pull them away or kite them away from the other person that you're trying to CC and then CC the person. It's all about positioning and awareness. A lot of it is anyways. Again, not the best, but at least I somewhat know.
Talking about and saying that this is probably a root fundamental issue. Yeah. The other issue...
There's a reason Peekaboo is so freaking good at Rogue, and he has minimal keybinds, like minimal add-ons and stuff.
Is self-healing. So you have like two massive issues. Self-healing is too high. That's talked about. We've done that. We've packed that. Everyone gets that. Everyone agrees there, right? Self-healing.
Yes, 100% it is. It's not even close. This happened in like Mists of Pandaria, is whenever it really kind of escalated, and then in Legion it was like
way
huge.
Too high. But the other pillar is this. AoE for every class, mobility for every class, like, is just too high because of Mythic Plus. It needs to be that way for the Mythic Plus design to actually make sense.
Healing is definitely too strong, especially in twos. I don't think healers should be allowed in twos, personal opinion. Or if you're going to allow healers in twos, the debuff should automatically start at like 30-40%. 30 or 40%. It's crazy to me that a demon hunter and or a druid can not only avoid all of your CC, but they can also just out heal all of your damage just by simply hitting 2 buttons. It's crazy. And then a priest can just throw up one shield or cocoon, and you can't kill them through it. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And I thought Raiku's just said it very well. Once again, Raikou says, can we please change this? This is a good example. It should be a node here. Instead of picking splitting ice, it should be your ice lance now does 25% more damage, but it doesn't cleave. Stuff like this is horrible for PvP. So once again, splitting ice makes your ice lance.
Nobody cares about PvP. Look at this. This guy's one of the most popular, or one of the most like renowned, like PvPers. This post has 27 likes. Blizzard doesn't care about them. The sooner that PvPers realize that Blizzard doesn't care about you, and you should spend your time, like, just stop. Like, the best thing, if I knew somebody who was trying to get into competitive WoW PvP, I would give them the best advice possible, and I would tell them to quit. Stop it.
I totally disagree with this. Like, have we ever come at it from a different perspective? Maybe they don't cater to the PvPers because all we do is freaking complain. And like, if you really think about it, a lot of the PvPers, they're like, Blizzard do this, Blizzard do this. But yeah, they are a very small percentage. Like, maybe there's a better way to talk to Blizzard and a better way of getting them to actually communicate with the PvPers. I'm sure they could make it to where as soon as you get into your PvP, you go into a different, spec or something. I could see them completely changing a tree line and make it specifically for PvP. That would be really cool. And then you have like your PvP talents, and then you have your PvE talents. So I think that would be really cool. They got to stop doing this open world PvP stuff. I feel like that is just, in my opinion, it's worse, not better. It makes it so people don't queue up for BGs. It makes it so people don't queue up for arenas. It makes it so people are just PvE farming out there, AFK farming. They're not actually doing anything. Half the time there's not even people out there. Just make it all into BGs and arenas. I feel like they need some heavy focus on those. And people love fighting each other. Stop. Like, the blitz modes are really good, but make it so that there's less objectives to capture and more time to kill, to attack each other. And that's my personal opinion, but it really just goes back and forth.
Go learn League of Legends, go learn Valorant, go learn Counter-Strike.
Unless you're getting farmed.
And invest your 10,000 hours into a game that matters.
Well, Valby can be a deadly tsunami.
The player base doesn't care about you. The developer doesn't care about you. Viewers don't care about you. And you don't make any money.
If all that was true, the PvPers wouldn't have views, and people wouldn't watch people that do arena on Twitch all the time. And personally, people like me, I sit here and watch YouTube videos of others that like to do arena and whatnot. But the problem is a lot of times the matches go on for so long because of healers that it's really not that entertaining, or the match is over in 2 seconds because Rogue. Rogue Shadow Bomb.
What are you doing?
Split, but then it breaks CC. So instead, it should be a choice node, and for PvP, you would choose, like, your Ice Lance does more damage, but it doesn't split. Or your Ice Lance doesn't do more damage, but it does split, and you choose one. So you can choose, like, a single target build or an AoE build, and that would make a lot more sense. And then Veneruki says, this talent has always made me laugh. It cleaves your spells and gives your single target damage. It would be awesome if it was a choice
Tough
node.
choice there.
But there's lots of examples like this. The same thing with Comet Storm, the same thing with Ice Nova, right? You have these, like, AoE classes just start to build up, and it's like, wait, no, we want options to make single target specs so that you make CC great again. So you go for CC chains and burst and stuff like that. But anyway, we'll kind of
being CC'd an entire match is probably the least fun thing in arena. when you have a mage and let's say a druid, because cyclone fun, right? So you can get CC'd almost the entire match if they know what they're doing. In my opinion, going towards being able to CC more is the worst direction, because people freaking hate being CC'd for a long period of time. You don't get to play the game. How much fun is it not being able to play the game? You know what's fun playing the game? If you had ways of breaking out of more of those CC, but the healing wasn't as strong, so you know you had to be more defensive with your offensive abilities or more defensive with your defensive abilities. Like, there's better ways of doing it, in my opinion. But I'm also just barely coming back to this expansion, so.
Kind of venture there. I wanted to talk about this because I thought Raikou said it very well. I agree with Veneruki's take here, and a lot of people ask my thoughts on like War Within, and like essentially this is it. It's like, well, I mean, it's gonna be awesome.
It's PvP in WoW has been dead since Mists of Pandaria. Like really, like WoD, it was like kind of there, but the truth is that everybody who wanted a competitive third-person, single target or single unit competitive experience, a huge group of those people moved over to MOBAs. And also, like, the player base just isn't there. Like, you don't have people that are playing and queuing BGs anymore because they're hard to understand. You don't know what's going on. There's just too many things in the game for a normal person to get into the game and be able to understand it. Like, for example...
Right, so exactly what I was saying earlier. We need to simplify the BGs and stuff and make it more combat on combat, because A, that's fun, and B, when it comes down, he's right. Mist of Pandaria probably was the last good expansion for PvP. You know why Mist of Pandaria expansion was so much fun? You could insta-global someone without... Every single class was overpowered. Every single class. Warrior could two-shot people, Mage could two-shot people, Druid was coming out of stealth and killing people. Yeah, sure. It was a little overwhelming at times, but once you learned, oh crap, I just need to immediately use my cooldowns, immediately use my defensives, it forced stuff out sooner, so the matches were over sooner, and you had more time to get back and in and out of matches. And your classes were doing so much damage, it was fun. And that's what I'm hoping for rolling into the next expansion.
Example, I could watch like a PvP video from, you know, like Pat or like the Maydai videos or Swifty videos. And even if you didn't really understand the game, you could pretty much see what was happening in classic WoW PvP. You could get it. You know what I mean? Whereas in retail, you can be playing the game. You can be actively playing the game, and you will understand less than you did if you didn't play the game and you watched the classic PvP video. You can't do it.
If you're a Mythic Plus player or a World First Raider, but if you're a PvPer, like...
I love how someone in the comments says, just make PvP talents and PvE talents in an MMO, then balance PvP side and PvE side separately. Wow, what a weird concept.
There's some really fundamental root issues.
PGs are hard to understand.
Yeah, anyway, that's my take.
Yeah, they are massively too hard to understand. Way, way too hard to understand. And I think this is what's happening, right? Is that you have...
Oh no.
In Albion, no matter where you
ads.
go or what you do,
Albion.
your mount will accompany you on your journey.
No ad blocker, no nothing. I like to
have
to
these
make sure
games
the creators
and
get paid for.
They're so complex. And also, why would somebody care about PvP in an MMO?
Self-healing.
Like where is the audience coming from that cares about PvP in an MMO? Because all of the people that care about MMO PvP in the context of like, what do you call it? All the people that care about MMO PvP in the context of a competitive environment are automatically going to move away, and they're not going to like that because you're going into the game with an advantage that the other person doesn't have. So, like, how could you possibly enjoy a game if you want to play on an even playing field with somebody else? It's like you're starting with, you know, a scout and the other guy has an op. Like in Counter-Strike, like they have a massive advantage over you. Like that's it. Now, can you beat them if you're better than them? Yeah. But is it going to be harder? Absolutely.
That's the fun. That's the challenge right there. I love being in all greens and defeating someone that's in full conquest gear. That you will never get a better rush of dopamine than when you defeat someone that's been kicking your ass in a duel over and over, or in arenas over and over, and you suddenly start winning them because you learned their pattern, you learned the rotation. We love Elden Ring, but we're not willing to learn the different classes in World of Warcraft. This game's been out for how long? You can look up a YouTube video on exactly what a class has, what you should be avoiding, what you should be looking for, when you should probably be trinketing. Screw all that. Like, that takes way too long, and just play the game. And then when you see that hunter class, go, okay, I should probably be ready for this. When I see a priest, oh, I should probably be ready for the life swap. Oh, there's 2 priests? Oh, they probably have double life swap. I should probably be ready to swap twice, CC the healer once they double swap, right? There's so many different things you should be looking for, and one of the best ways to do it is to either A, level up the different classes, which you should probably do anyways, because if you've never played World of Warcraft, there's so many good classes to play in this game. There's so many good classes. To limit yourself down to one, in my opinion, especially the very first one you start, is silly. There's so many classes that have so many different ways of playing that it makes the game just totally fun in its own unique way. This whole, you have to play this spec, you have to play this class, you have to play this rate, screw that. Ignore them. I don't care about these elitists. These elitists are the 1%. They're the rich people. Nobody cares about them. You know what you should do? Have fun on the game. And you know how you're going to have fun? Just doing what you enjoy, whether it's PvE or PvP content. Doesn't matter. Or sitting here and listening to Asmongold.
So that's what happens. And you losing those people, and then the people that care about getting better gear and then just stomping people, you can't do that as much as you used to anymore because of stat scaling. And also, it doesn't feel as good because of the way that the game is designed. So who are they making the game for? Who like, where is this target audience of PvPers? Who are they? Where are they? Are they in the room with us right now? Probably fucking not, because they're gone. They stopped playing the game 10 years ago. Nostalgia Andes, yeah, exactly. I'll give.
A lot of us PvPers went on to different games. We were playing games like For Honor because, you know, that's one-on-one combat. League of Legends is a great one-on-one combat. Probably Dead by Daylight, playing killers because we enjoy the challenge. A lot of us PvP people were probably progressing on with our own lives and kind of doing our own things. It's hard to get onto World of Warcraft because people are so elitist nowadays that just getting into a regular group to spam 2s just to get gear is a chore for some reason. People have turned World of Warcraft into such an elitist play style that it's like, screw you, neckbeards. Yeah, like, let us just do our own thing. And if anybody tries to tell me how my class works or how I should be playing it, ignore. Don't care. They made the ignore button on purpose, so you can do whatever you want, whether you're playing the best that you can play or not. As long as you're having fun, that is all that matters in an MMO. Have some fun, and yeah.
Give you guys a link to the video. I agree with Zaryu a lot about this. The same 300 people with 20 characters? Yeah, exactly. Like, MMO PvP is because you can be a stronger character with skill, which is why it's good. It makes you go out of your way to get better, to go compete in the arena. I understand that's the way that you think about it, but I'll change the way that, like, this is the way that I think a lot of people think about it. They see somebody else that has an advantage over them, and they quit. Because they say, this isn't fair. I'm going to lose. And how do I know that? Do you remember back in Classic WoW?
Unfortunately, that's very accurate. Like I was saying earlier, people don't like being CC'd, and then, you know, that's another thing, is people don't like getting farmed in BGs. I think in BGs, unless you're playing ranked, it should be a set item level for everyone, all the time. There's way too many times you get into a BG and you're just getting farmed in your graveyard, or you're farming them in their graveyard. It either goes one way or the other sometimes. Sometimes it's a pretty equal, but like, I think in general, if they could gravitate people more towards PvP, this issue wouldn't be so bad. Maybe they could make the queues based off of item level, but I think that would take way too long. I think everybody should just have a set item level, and they should have it set down to where it's literally like big BG, small BG, arena. Like, make the choices simple, like League of Legends did. Make the choices simple. Don't give them all these 10 million different options. Nobody likes going into Ultric Valley. You get into Ultric Valley, people literally go, oh, this thing. And they know that they're about to spend 45 minutes in a single BG and probably lose.
When everybody was so adamant on the idea that people like the challenge of playing on a lower, on like a 60-40 PvP server where they're the minority, and like they like playing on a imbalanced PvP server because they like the challenge of having a bunch of other people around. And then you saw every single one of those servers go completely one-sided. See, people say this. They don't do it.
It is kind of annoying when servers are all one-sided, but the nice thing is with all the cross-server stuff, I noticed that I'm running into people out in PvP way more often, just while questing. I'm not even looking for them. I just find them while questing, because you're able to be out in the environment, flag for PvP, hooray, there you go. That's perfect. And then just do quests out in PvP. They don't need to put any more specific PvP out in PvP environment. The world PvP has been dead for frickin' ever. The last time I remember having a little bit of fun with it, I think was back in BFA, over there in that little dome area. But people were PvPing so much that it made it impossible to do anything else. And you didn't actually even get to enjoy the PvE content. If you're someone like me, I enjoy the PvE content and the PvP content. In fact, I farm out the PvP gear first for the PvE content, because most times the PvE or PvP content or PvP gear is easier to get than the PvE gear. But the PvP gear can easily sustain you to get more PvE gear, if that makes any sense at all.
Actually, what people do. This is complete fucking, you know, oh, I'm a badass, and then, like, you're getting killed by 4 people at the same time. You have no...
I love how someone in the chat literally just said something about the PvP, world PvP. Like, if you back up like 2 seconds, someone just said something about world PvP.
Chance of winning. This happens to you for 2 hours and you quit the game. Like, that's it. You think you do, but you don't. Well, yeah, you think... Exactly. Or everyone did AVV, did in PvP. It turned into a PvE.
Also, this is just going on about the arena. I think they should add a 1v1 mode. I think they should add a 1v1 arena mode so we can see which spec is the best spec. Healers should not be allowed in it. Tanks should not be allowed in it. It is just strictly DPS classes, and I think they should be allowed to 1v1, and you can just sit there and queue for duels, even if it only gives you like 10 conquest a match or whatever. And I think it should be rated and have like a rating behind it so people can solo climb. I think people would love that. Just being able to solo queue. Having to rely on a teammate sucks. Like, it sucks. It's forcing us to work with another person that is just going to end up being a rando that doesn't care about your rating, doesn't care how well they do, doesn't care to look up anything. It's like, okay, whatever. I don't mind doing that stuff with a friend, but when it comes down to doing it with a rando, I'm just kind of like, you know, I'd rather be doing this by myself, which is why I enjoyed those solo skirmishes, but people are so toxic in those that it's not even fun. Once they find out the person is bad, then they just hyper-focus you, and you literally don't get to play the game. I mean, everybody's trash-talking you. Your own teammates are trash-talking you, and your enemies trash-talking you, because I've watched it happen to a couple people where they die almost immediately, and then they get tunnel-visioned every single match because they know that they're the weak link out, so...
E-race? Yeah, exactly. Let's see here. I also tend to dislike MMO PvP because the class balance has to be very good for it, and it's never going to be very good. That's the thing, is that you're never going to get people to respect asymmetrical PvP. It's literally that simple. If you go into combat with an advantage that somebody else doesn't have, that is not something that you are like choosing for that round. Why not? Because it's not fair. What do you mean, why not? It's not fair. one person has an advantage the other person doesn't have, they win. Well, it's not enjoyable anymore. Life isn't fair. I know, but people are playing video games to get away from life. Think about it. We don't want it fair? You say we don't want it fair. But the numbers indicate otherwise. And that's the difference. People love to talk a big game.
I'm just curious what numbers he's talking about. I would like to see him pull up a poll about this with his viewers and see what people actually think. Because as far as I'm aware, this is just speculation, right? This is his opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he has different numbers that he's aware of that I'm unaware of. But, like, I would love to see what people actually think versus what is actually being done. I would love for Blizzard to do open communication polling so they can see what people want. Because if there's anything they found out, it's they don't know what we want. It's we know what we want. Maybe that's my personal opinion, but I feel like they learned a lot from classic World of Warcraft that people are still playing it to this day, and hardcore and all the others.
About this stuff. But the truth is that when you see people that are going up against insurmountable odds and people that are going into a fight knowing that they have an 80% chance of losing because of something that, you know, is external to the fight, you see people not queuing up anymore. They're quitting. And every single observable metric proves this. It's tedious. Yes, exactly. You say you want it to be fair because you think you're going to win. Exactly. Of course. Some people just want to go seal clubbing. Yeah, exactly. Asman, such a fried take for someone who didn't PvP in retail for 4 years. What about what I'm saying isn't true? Mr. I have a WoW profile picture. This is a World of Warcraft profile picture. It's not a good transmog. It's a full set. It's a full...
I love when he pulls people's comments out like this, because then you can see everything they're saying, and it just makes either the person look really smart or really dumb. You're not really sure yet, or they just have really good insight on the information that they're spewing. So
full set with the TCG tabard set, or a TCG tabard. It's not even a big deal. What is it? And also, why would I PvP in a...
He knows his content so well. It's so freaking impressive. It's one thing I've loved about watching Asmongold is he knows exactly what he's looking at. He just called out his tabard because he can, not because he needed to.
game that I think isn't very, like, I don't think the PvP experience is good and it's not enjoyable. Why would I play it? What's the logic there? I'm explaining why I don't play PvP. I don't find it fun. I think it's annoying and it's stupid. So yeah, why would I do that? If I want PvP, I could just play a PvP game. First of all, you get geared in PvP really quick. You didn't listen to what I said. It's still asymmetrical. It is. It's asymmetrical. It's not even confusing. Spread the well, bro. This guy, Ox. Damn, bro. This guy's so annoying. All right, I'm gonna ban this guy. Okay. Anyway, so not this one. It's just somebody else typing this like weird fucking bullshit. Like I don't know. Like, bro, this is so fucking weird. Like, what are you? Jesus Christ, get the fuck out of here. Anyway. So yeah, it's fun after 20 hours. Yeah, why would somebody play step 1, find a friend, step 2, play 2v2, and have fun? No, you're not going to have fun. See, like, you don't even understand.
Disagree with you wholeheartedly. Wherever you're going with this, I disagree with you. No, we do understand. You find a friend and you just fuck around. The amount of CC you can do, the amount of damage you can do, it's fun. And even if you're losing, it's not that big of a deal if you can find your other significant other in the video game. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so much fun that you can have in Arena if people stop overcomplicating it. Stop trying to only focus on winning. You're not going to get better immediately. You're playing against people that have probably like 100,000 hours in Arena once you get past 1,800 and 2,000 rating. Like, you're playing against people that have been playing for freaking years. It's going to take some time. If you can learn the different classes, every class has its own unique advantages. I think Druids have a little better advantages, but that's personal opinions. And Demon Hunters, Druids, Priests right now, and Hunters. Those are the 4 classes that every time I say them, I'm kind of like, ugh, but it's whatever. You know, I'm going to either get better against them or I'm going to keep losing against them. One of the two things.
What's your character name? Give me your character name right now. I'm going to look you up. What is the character right there? What's the picture of that character? That's a Night Elf Rogue. I'm pretty sure it's a Night Elf Rogue. Windhawks? What server? So I guess he must be in the EU servers, but I don't think I can even go to that. Ah, fuck. I can't find it. Yeah, that's too bad. I don't think I'm going to be able to do this. I apologize, guys. I don't think it's going to happen. Wait. Oh, I might have it here. One more. Double check. I can't. Okay. Well, anyway, I guess we're not going to be able to do this. I apologize. So, yeah. Anyway, the armor set that you're wearing in that picture is from Legion. This is an elite armor set. I think it's actually that's the mythic armor set from Legion. So, you have played the game at least for 7 years. Or 8 years, probably. So, what are we talking about that, like, this is, like, for you, it seems easy. Just do in EU, yes. Just use check.pvp. Okay. Check PvP. Wow. I've never seen this before.
Neither have I.
Yeah, I've never seen this.
What is
okay.
this?
Search your profile. Okay, here we go. 528. He's 2400 rated.
Of course.
And how long has this guy played the game? Is there a way I can actually just click on this? Yeah, here we go. Oh, this makes it way easier.
That hard if they're not.
All right, so you have 7,000 achievement points, and how long have you played the game? Legacy achievements. Let's go ahead and scroll down. Dungeons. So, expansion features, current world events, maybe character. 2016 at least, right? You've played the game since 2016. There are a lot of people who have been very outspoken about me not knowing what I'm talking about. But what I think they don't understand is that their experience playing the game is so much different than somebody who is new to the game. That's 8 years, man. I agree, it's really bad for new players or people who don't put effort in. Why would somebody want to put in effort when they're losing an unfair fight?
Why would you put effort into any video game? Why would you put effort into, I don't know, Rainbow Six Siege? People download that game constantly. Do you know how much time invested people have into that game? They know every single peak spot. They know every single random where they should dump their mag. They know little hiding spots, so they pre-fire them. Like, you can use that logic for any video game. Dead by Daylight's been out for years. 7 Days to Die, League of Legends, Ark Survival Evolved. It doesn't matter if people are better than you. All that matters is your ability to adapt to the situation. The thing about World of Warcraft is it's never the same every single expansion pack. Yes, it has the same general concept, but the talents change, the damage change, the gear changes, the way you have to play sometimes changes. Like, all it takes is doing, learning, do it again. That's my personal opinion.
You queue into a match, you lose to somebody who has better gear than you, and you're dead. Why would somebody do that? Why wouldn't they just immediately stop playing and play another game where they're not at a disadvantage? And I'm thinking about this from a perspective, because I know the reason why, right? It's so you can get the gear and do it to somebody else. Sure. But that is not what PvPers and people that actually like a competitive environment want to do.
Again, this is why PvP regular Battlegrounds needs to just have a set item level, but PvP rated Battlegrounds needs to have whatever gear you're using. I think you should be able to queue up for rated Battlegrounds, and you have to have a specific item level, just like they do with PvE content, right? Specific item level, you can just queue up for the rated, and you can just go. I don't think it should be gatekeeped. You just shouldn't have to create your own group. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I feel like only the elitists play ranked right now, and that's because of the way that it's all set up.
That's what MMO Andes want to do. Getting gear is not an issue. In Dragonfight, Source, trust me, bro, you don't start with the gear. And if you think that it's not an issue, you don't understand how much free time people have. And why would somebody, how many hours do you think it takes to get fully geared at the beginning of a new season?
At the beginning of the season, I have no idea, but all I can say is that I just recently came into Dragonflight. I had full honor gear in a day. It took me less than a day. All I did was farm out BGs, farm out arena, solo queues, arena skirmishes or whatever, and there you go. I had full PvE gear or PvP gear and honor gear, and that put me at just a good enough advantage to where I could start farming for conquest gear inside of 2v2 arenas on my DK. Farming for gear is really not that difficult. I always farm PvP gear first because of how simplified it is.
4 to 8 hours. So you're telling me that within 4 hours, you can get the best PvP gear in the game?
Not best.
No. Okay,
No.
Of course not.
Not
Right,
unless
of course
you have
not.
someone in 2v2
So-
that's going to carry you.
Here's the point, okay? My point that I'm making is that WoW PvP is made for no one. The high-end competitive players don't really get any sort of like real advantage from playing the game, because so if you want to compete in a game and make money, like let's say you're a 19-year-old young buck, right? You're a 19-year-old guy and you really want to get into esports. Why would you start playing World of Warcraft? Why wouldn't you start trying to play League or another game that's more popular? So you don't have the young players that are trying to get into.
He's talking about the 1% right now. Getting into these top rank playings, people need to come back down to realization and realize these people play these games for hours, days, 16-hour days, 15-hour days, just playing that video game, practicing every single move, every single ability, every single everything. That is the 1%. And yeah, no.
Into the game because they want to be in the competitive scene, because there is no competitive scene, right? There's just a handful of old people. So the second thing, the average casual player is getting alienated because they are playing asymmetrical PvP against somebody who's way better than them. Then number 3, you queue into 1700 2v2s, you're going to see somebody who's a gladiator. That's insane. It's insane that happens. So you're playing.
Take your ass beating and move on. See what he did. You look at his positioning, see what he's doing, go, wow, okay, I'll remember that for next time, and try to utilize his advantages to your advantage for the next arena.
Playing against people that have a 10-year advantage over you and that have 0.5% achievements, and they're just going to stomp the shit out of you. Right, take a step out. Anyone who starts playing League today is at a massive disadvantage. They are at a massive disadvantage, but here's the difference. They stand to gain way more. People care about League, and you can make a lot more money playing League. That's the difference. Asymmetrical PvP only works in large-scale battles? Yeah, listen, it's this simple. No one will ever care about or respect asymmetrical PvP other than the spectacle of it. That's it. To the extent that you can queue in with a tool or a resource that somebody else cannot queue in with, nobody will ever respect or care about that. Period. That's it. Don't try to make MMO PvP competitive. Try to make it fun. And if you do that...
Make it fun, but make the rated competitive. That's how it should be. The regular fighting against each other should be fun. Regular battlegrounds and stuff should be fun. Altered Valley needs a freaking rework. I know I went on about that earlier, but he's right. It needs to be fun. And the rated should be the PvP that people go into because they're competitive.
Maybe things would be okay. But yeah, anyway, that's what I think. I think WoW PvP is dead. It was always destined to die, and now it's so dead that nobody cares about it, and there's just a few old people that are trying to relive the glory days of 15 years ago. That's all there is to it. Anybody who cares about PvP is playing a different game. So yeah.
What about those that care about PvE and PvP? And transmog and pets? I don't care about mounts, but I care about my pets. Hey, don't judge me.
Yeah, that's about it.
You're looking at my trading account right now.
No,
You can see I'm up
trading accounts.
$84,500 on the year.
Oh, nice. Oh, perfect.